Hey everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, October the 23rd, 2023. Big week because by Saturday we're having a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. But let's start with Monday. By 9 or just after 9 a.m. Pacific time, the sun enters into Scorpio. The past 4 weeks, it's been in more harmonious, peace-seeking, sociable Libra. When it goes into Scorpio, Scorpio goes more introspective. It's more private. The emotions are more intense. It's when we're preparing for winter, going within in the northern latitudes. But as the sun goes into 0 degrees of Scorpio, it's in harmony with pragmatic, realistic Saturn at 0 degrees of Pisces. And this gives a lot of grounding, good practical business sense. However, the moon in Aquarius, it's that more innovative, progressive energies. The moon in Aquarius will go void of course at 12:05 p.m. on Monday afternoon, Pacific time, but will remain for the rest of the day void of course into Tuesday at 1:34 a.m. Pacific time. And during the void, of course, stick through your routine, good for reflection and studies and meditation, but it's not advised to start any important new projects because the energy is flat and unproductive. And again, when the moon is void, of course, it means, well, it's finishing up in the sign of Aquarius. It's no longer making any aspects to other planets until it then moves into Pisces. Now, on Tuesday, the 24th, the moon's in sensitive, empathetic, creative Pisces. When the moon was in Aquarius, the public reaction is more mental, more cerebral, and therefore sometimes a little bit more impersonal or detached. Whereas once a month, when the moon goes into Pisces for 2.5 days, Pisces is very sympathetic, compassionate, emotional. So it comes from the heart, where the Aquarius, it came more from the head. But around late afternoon, 4 or 5 p.m. Pacific time, the moon will be in harmony with assertive Mars. So the moon Mars can trigger some passion, some drive, really wanting to take the lead. It can be a very productive time, good for exercising, good for being energized. Wednesday, the 25th, the moon continues in sensitive Pisces. Early afternoon Pacific time, it will be forming a sextile or a harmonious transit to Uranus. Uranus is that progressive, futuristic, thinking out of the box energies. So when the moon is in harmony with Uranus, and think of the moon as your feelings, when it's in harmony with Uranus, it is a really good period early afternoon to get out of old ruts, old routines, try new things. Emotionally, you're going to be much more excited and maybe excited about the adventure of life, trying new things. But by early evening, 6, 7 p.m. Pacific time, the moon in Pisces will cross over Neptune that's been in Pisces for a number of years. So once a month, when the moon is in Pisces, because crossing Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, and Neptune is in Pisces, this is a very intuitive, compassionate, period. It's excellent for trusting your hunches. It's really favorable for spiritual pursuits, but it can be a very idealistic, creative time. On Thursday, now the moon has moved into Aries for the next couple of days. Now, there aren't any other planetary events. The moon will not be making any kind of major aspects to other planets. Actually, Thursday and Friday. So the overall tone with Aries is assertive, independent, impatient. But we can also look at how the sun is in Scorpio since Monday for 4 weeks. And the Scorpio energy is much more reflective, much more good for research, good for wanting to be alone and private, do a lot of soul searching. But with the moon in fiery Aries, with the sun in watery emotional Scorpio, it can trigger a lot of emotional impatientness. The Scorpio is trying to figure out everything, trying to be more in control. But emotionally, we're just impatient. We just want to get on with it. And the same goes for Friday. So in many ways, the emotional reactiveness of the moon is in a stressful angle to Scorpio. Aries is a fire sign. Scorpio is a water sign. So there can be a lot of passion, a lot of emotional reactiveness, could trigger some tensions and angers with that fire water, because fire boils the water, or is the water putting out the fire. On Saturday, the 28th, now it is the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. This day is very important astrologically, not just because of the lunar eclipse, but assertive Mars will be in opposition or interacting with expansive lucky Jupiter. There might be some very favorable work opportunities are coming in. Also, as I'm saying, a lot of activity, mostly positive. Communication Mercury, decision-making Mercury will be in opposition to Jupiter. So there, again, more of these offers, more of these discussions. Now, the full moon, a lunar eclipse is a full moon, but it's like a full moon on steroids. In other words, every month we have a full moon. And for a couple of days, if it impacts your chart, you'll feel more of this emotional reactiveness. When it's a lunar eclipse, the effects can last for a whole lot longer. It's going to be at about 5 degrees of Taurus. So if you have within a couple of degrees any planet around 5 degrees of Taurus, or the opposite 5 degrees of Scorpio, whatever that planet represents, that lunar eclipse could be triggering a lot of emotional reactiveness that could last for up to a month or so. The thing with a new moon solar eclipse, which was 2 weeks prior, in general, it's ushering new beginnings. But with an eclipse, it's not all clear what's manifesting right away. A full moon lunar eclipse is more about bringing things that have been hidden and bringing it to the surface. But many times it's about letting go. So any kind of old patterns, old attachments, or relationships or business agreements that have outlived their purpose, it all starts to come to light, and it's a time of letting go. The Sunday on the 29th, that Mercury and Mars that Jupiter was opposing on Saturday, which is a good thing. Now the Mercury and Mars are exactly aligned. But you're feeling it Saturday, you're feeling it Sunday. Mercury is decision-making the mind. The Mars is heating it up, making quick, fast decisions. Fortunately, with the moon in Taurus, the Taurus keeps us more grounded, more steady, and the moon in Taurus will be in harmony with pleasure-seeking relational Venus by mid-afternoon Pacific time, trying to just calm the waters. But with that full moon lunar eclipse bringing a lot of things to light, we are having Mars opposite Jupiter, Mercury opposite Jupiter. So there's a lot of positive opportunities that people are offering you. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.